Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of MICAST, MICA's official podcast. I'm your host, Dhruvang, and today we have with us Vaibhav Munjal, co founder of ChalChitra Talks, India's biggest platform for recommendation of movies, books, TV shows, podcasts, and poetries by experts and celebrities. Let us get into a candid conversation with Vaibhav about content creation and navigating the challenges of building a sustainable creator business. Hi, Vaibhav. We are so glad to have you on our podcast today.
Hi Dhruvang, very happy to be here. Can I speak both in Hindi and English?
Yeah, you can switch whenever you want to. So
Great.
let's dive into our first question. From working at TVF and then starting your own channel and going around asking people to follow your channel in Marine Drive to now when you have a base of 180K followers on YouTube, your journey in the industry and as a content creator has been quite interesting. Could you take us through your journey in the content creation space and how did Chalchitra Talk start?
Amazing. So yeah, man, जो जैसे I think one of the things that we really worked on was the idea of being authentic to our truest selves. And मेरे को हमेशा से बहुत मजा आता है to do things in my own way where my most natural personality is coming out. जैसे मैं आपसे भी अभी बात कर रहा हूँ, right? Like so it has to be very very organic. And I have tried to maintain it until now. जैसे I use this quote a lot. Like आपने अगर मेरा videos देखे हैं कि one of the lines I live by is कि the goal is not to survive. The goal is to survive as yourself, undiminished. So the idea is to kind of be the truest version of yourself.
Hmm, hmm,
And उस चीज़ की वजह से मेरे को लगता है कि trying to preserve that has helped us
hmm,
maintain the authenticity. And when you are able to preserve the authenticity, that becomes your currency, and like more and more people come and tune in because they're like, hey, he is just being the truest version of himself, if it is, even if it is imperfect. So when more people join my team, I also try that they are the truest version of themselves. Let's say if you had been doing this podcast with Vani today, so the way Vani would have talked would be different from the way I talk. So वो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है, particularly when you start like kind of tasting any level of success. You are like, okay, now I need to change, but the idea is you don't, right? So but like वो बहुत ज़्यादा counter intuitive होता है. And
hmm.
to maintain that, like you have to practice a lot. And बहुत ग्राउंडेड रहना होता है, बहुत प्रैक्टिस करनी होती है कि आप अपना ऑथेंटिक सेल्फ कैसे रहो व्हेन द होल वर्ल्ड इज पुशिंग यू टू बी इन ऑथेंटिक.
Great. So, when you're also talking about being authentic, I just wanted to also ask, movies, books, and all content basically is very subjective, right? Like it is not a objective thing. So everyone has different taste, and everyone has, there's it's different. It's there. The preferences are differ from user to user, right? So how do you recommend? Like, how do you ensure that your recommendations are not biases of your own? Are not your own biases, but also they're neutral to everyone and they can be everyone would love them.
So my all my recommendation are very biased, and I'm not trying to give unbiased recommendations because I don't make movie reviews. I am just someone who watches something, and he is that person who likes to say कि यार you have to watch this, you have to read this. So वही लोग आपसे आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, और जब वो देख लेते हैं कि देयर आर मल्टी फैसेट लाइक लेयर्स टू इट कि ओके ये इस टाइप की भी चीज़ें रिकमेंड करता है, ये इस टाइप की भी करता है, सो पीपल स्टार्ट हैविंग ट्रस्ट इन यू. So you will understand it like if I tell you ki, let's say कि if I talk about my favorite films, that video is different from best films. मेरी favorite films में बहुत absurd चीज़ भी हो सकती है, but like best जो films हैं उनमें कुछ there are some like legendary films which are going to be there. So this channel is a lot about personalized recommendations, personalized favorites. So there is no pressure of like kind of being unbiased because we don't review films. We have never played the Friday movie review game, and that has helped us a lot. So bias का कोई tension ही नहीं है. People, you just need to kind of focus on the idea that your recommendations need to be diverse enough. Like अगर मेरे को let's say sci-fi बहुत पसंद है, तो I cannot always come and talk about sci-fi. And I kind of need to also talk about romance. I need to come talk about crime thrillers. And let's say if as a creator I am not able to do it, then as a leader it becomes my job to find my replacements and fulfill those parts. So basically, Chalchitra ke pure universe mein there needs to be at least someone talking about those things, which is not necessary. And the necessary part is not that it has to be me. That is why like I built a whole team around this.
Great, makes sense. So I also want to know, like, this is what you spoke about was genre wise, but do you also want to increase the language or vernacular, diversity at the recommendations that you give? I've seen you have recommended a lot of Tamil and Malayalam films, but I'm just asking, ki, are you also actively looking to do that?
Yeah, so I haven't recommended a lot of Tamil and Malayalam films. It's like one of like
हाँ.
sections जो मैंने कम explore किया है. मैं धीरे धीरे करता रहता हूँ मेरी speed से. But there are people on my channel who are recommending that because I identified this is somewhere like I am lacking. But like Chalchitra as a channel and as a organization cannot be lacking there. So we are always looking for interesting people, interesting things कि जो आके बोले कि let me do this. But देन वहाँ पे वो वाला पूरी इक्वेशन आ जाती है कि डू दे हैव द टेम्परामेंट दैट यू वुड लाइक टू लाइक अ टेम्परामेंट दैट यू वुड वांट टू हैव इन योर वर्क कल्चर क्या डू दे fit with your value systems and stuff like that, and once there is a match you can like continue working with them.
Okay. And so when you said that you see the value system, can you tell us about what are the value systems that you have at Chalchitra that you look for in a person?
सो आई काइंड ऑफ लाइक मेरा आई थिंक सबसे बड़ा वैल्यू सिस्टम का पार्ट है कंसिस्टेंसी एंड डिपेंडेबिलिटी. सो कंसिस्टेंसी इज लाइक बिहेवियरल कंसिस्टेंसी, लाइक कि मतलब अगर कोई इंसान एक तरीके से बिहेव कर रहा है, सो you kind of see a lot of consistency in that. There won't come a time कि they'll do something कि अरे यार ये क्या कर रहे हो. Someone who is in hold of their emotions and stuff, obviously everyone has like moments जहाँ पे they have slip ups and stuff, but like how quickly that they bounce back and how often are they able to find that balance. So वहाँ पे मेरे को consistency बहुत पसंद है. डिपेंडेबिलिटी तो मतलब पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है कि इन द सेंस कि इफ़ यू कमिट टू समथिंग देन यू हैव टू डू इट राइट. अगर आप आगे से कोई कमिटमेंट ले रहे हो देन आई नीड टू बी एबल टू डिपेंड ऑन यू. एंड बहुत अंडर अप्रिशिएटेड वर्च्यू है ये दुनिया में. एंड आई थिंक कि if people are dependable, it's just like great in general for the work culture, because then you're like okay, this person is taking care of this thing, now let me focus on some other department. So consistency and dependability are two things. Consistency in everything, particularly the behavior, and dependability in regard to if you take up work and in general can I rely on you or not.
Huh. So now that you started on your own with your roommate, and now that you have come to a stage where you are looking for people with certain values that you believe would suit the creator business, that is Chalchitra Talks. So I wanted to know, like, what were the challenges that you faced, while building the whole channel and your business from scratch to this point when you are hiring people to for your channel.
Challenges अलग अलग टाइप के आते हैं. लाइक मॉनेटरीली देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ challenges, एंड लाइक हर जने की ईगो होती है. यू काइंड ऑफ हैव टू लाइक डील विद एवरी पर्सन's ego. And not, I'm not using the word ego in a negative sense of way, like I'm just saying every person has their own way of looking at things. So uh, ego becomes a problem when it is big, right? Otherwise every person has a ego ki how they do things, how they want things. So वहाँ पे आपको एक बैलेंस चाहिए होता है, वहाँ पे आपको एक कंपैटिबिलिटी चाहिए होती है. और धीरे धीरे आप वैसे लोग ढूंढते हो कि जो जहाँ पे आपको कंपैटिबिलिटी मिलती है. रिसेंटली आई रियलाइज लाइक मैं आजकल कुछ पॉडकास्ट सुन रहा हूँ, वहाँ पे मैं कोई बात समझ रही. पहले मेरे को क्या लगता था, आई वुड हायर पीपल वेरी इजीली, कि कोई भी इंथू दिखाता था मैं बोलता था आ जा. But lately, I've realized 90% of the people, this is not my quote, this is a quote I heard in a podcast, and I've been thinking about it a lot in the last few days. 90% of people are unhireable. Basically, वो आएंगे आपको बोलेंगे कि हम ये कर सकते हैं, पहले एक दो दिन कर भी देंगे, and then you realize oh they are not able to do the job, they over promised. So people have a problem of overcommitting things, and which makes almost 90% of the people unhireable. So मैं यहाँ पे मेरी शॉर्ट कमिंग होती थी, मैं जो भी अच्छा इंथू वाला लगता था मैं उनको कहता था आजा आजा, देन यू रियलाइज कि okay, this shouldn't be like this. But I don't regret it, that's my way of working. But now I'm realizing there is a big difference between the into which someone says no, no, I'll do it, and the way and the speed at which they execute. वो कम से कम होना चाहिए डिफरेंस, लोगों का बढ़ता जा रहा है कि एंड वहाँ पे भी डिपेंडेबिलिटी वाली बात आती है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे भी ट्रस्ट ब्रेक होता है कि ये यू सेड यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट, व्हाई यू नॉट एबल टू डू इट, एंड देन यू रियलाइज कि या मतलब यू शुडंट हायर ऐसे इतना इजीली पीपल. फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि आर दे इवन वर्थ इट और नॉट, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर गुड एट प्रिटेंडिंग दैट दे कैन. कॉलेज वॉलेज जाते हैं लोग, पता है कि थोड़ा ऐसे चार अच्छी लाइनें बोलो, एक तरीके से बैठो, बॉडी लैंग्वेज वगैरह सीख लेते हैं. So they know कि if they do those things right, they have a good chance of like impressing the other people. But only later do you realize कि like यहाँ पे मैंने थोड़ा हड़बड़ी कर दी. This is a very new uh, revelation जो जिसके साथ मैं कर रहा हूँ. Like I don't have a problem with any particular person in my team. In general, I'm seeing people over promise and under deliver. Mostly दुनिया में ही होता है. वो जैसे इंडिया में होता है ना कि कंस्ट्रक्शन 2 महीने में हो जाएगा, एंड देन यू सी वो कंस्ट्रक्शन 1 साल तक चल रहा है. सो या, दैट इज वन रियलाइजेशन आई हैव हैड.
So how do you differentiate now? Like, let's say if a person comes and says, like, you are hiring you would be whenever you're hiring, how do you differentiate and know कि इसका सिर्फ enthusiasm है and this is just work no talk, or this is both work and talk?
या सो मैं पहले उनको एक ऐसी टास्क दे देता हूँ जहाँ मेरे को पता है कि इट इज़ गोइंग टू टेस्ट देम आउट, राइट. कि आजकल हमारे पास बहुत आ रहा है, समर इंटर्नशिप का टाइम चल रहा है ना, सो एवरी अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर लाइक अप्रोचिंग अस, बट लाइक कि हमें आपके साथ इंटर्नशिप करनी है. तो इनटू बहुत लोगों में आ रहे हैं, हम आपका काम तब से देख रहे हैं. सो आई ऑलवेज गिव देम अ टास्क, एंड उनका फिर थोड़ा सा मुंह छोटा हो जाता है कि अरे यार शिट, काम दे दिया. सो दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी गुड वे ऑफ सीइंग कि विल दे बी एबल टू वर्क और नॉट. तो बेसिकली वही जो भी आप किताबों वगैरह में पढ़ते हो, जो भी मैनेजरियल चीज़ होती है, मैं कभी ऐसे बिजनेस स्कूल वगैरह नहीं गया. सो आई एम जस्ट फिगरिंग दीज थिंग्स आउट बाय माई सेल्फ. आई हैव हैड ग्रेट मेंटर्स इन माई लाइफ, बट दिस इज समथिंग जो मेरे को अभी रियली अभी पिछले 6 महीने में बहुत ज़्यादा हिट कर रहा है कि people there is a lot of incongruency between what people say and what they deliver. Not in ChalChitra, I'm just saying in human, it's a human being trait जो मेरे को हर जगह दिखाई दे रहा है एकदम से.
So one more thing that you said is you're at an intersection of a lot of things, and a lot of creators at the start also, they are one person army, so they are their own writer, director, producer. And at the start also you were also doing the same, wearing different hats, and like you looked at different aspects of, and down there you also started looking at the business aspect of ChalChitra Talks. So my question is, how did you manage to juggle between these roles? And what was the advice or suggestion that you would give to aspiring creators to juggle between them or to manage their time properly?
So I think कि once you make a YouTube channel and once the monetization starts, now it's a very interesting thing which happens. Instagram पे अगर आज की डेट में if you at all become big, your revenue would be dependent on brand deals, right? Insta is the wrong platform to talk about, क्योंकि Insta भी figure out कर रहा है कि हम creators के लिए sustainable कैसे बनाए. सो जो चीज़ अभी क्रैक्ड ही नहीं है, ऑब्वियसली वहाँ पे अगर आपके पास कोई ब्रांड आ रहा है, वो देखता है कि यार आप माइक्रो इन्फ्लुएंसर हो, तो वो आपको कुछ बोल देगा. बट लाइक वहाँ पे इंस्टाग्राम ने अभी चीज़ें इन जनरल एक क्रिएटर के लिए इतनी सस्टेनेबल नहीं बनाई हैं फॉर अस टू हैव अ डिस्कशन अबाउट दैट. यूट्यूब पे लोगों के करियर्स बने एंड इंस्टा पे भी बने हैं, बट वो ब्रांड इंटीग्रेशन की वजह से बने हैं. बट दैट इज अ डिस्कशन वी शुड नॉट हैव राइट नाउ, बिकॉज मैंने स्टार्टिंग इससे की थी कि बोल के कि यू शुडंट डिपेंड ऑन जस्ट ब्रांड इंटीग्रेशन. ब्रांड इंटीग्रेशन शुड बी द चेरी ऑन टॉप, और ऑब्वियसली ब्रांड इंटीग्रेशन से आपका सबसे ज़्यादा पैसा आएगा. आप तन में बैठ के भी वीडियोस देख लो, उससे कोई पूछता है आप मंथली कितना कमाते हो, आपका मोस्ट पैसा कहाँ आता है, वो बोलता है ब्रांड इंटीग्रेशन से आता है. बट until you reach a point where five brands are trying to sponsor every video of yours, you still need to have it figured out in a way you don't have to rely on it. That's not the game anyone should play. So if someone is starting out there, don't your play your game just on Instagram, but also don't play your game just on Spotify. Spotify is also something which doesn't offer you revenue unless and until आपने उन लोगों के साथ directly कोई deal crack कर ली, right? So it's, even if you have like a lot of recurring viewers and stuff, uh, you need to have things which make it real. And once things start becoming real, the other advice I give people is stop editing your videos yourself. Always find someone else, even if you're the best editor in the world, because आप अपना limited आर ही दे सकते हो as a creator editing को. But then there is a person who would think about editing for 24 hours a day, right? So you should kind of trust them. ये हर यूट्यूबर जिन्होंने किसी भी लेवल की सक्सेस लाइक अचीव किया हो ये बोलते हैं. And study the grades. So because you need to see कि उन लोगों की लाइफ में कैस क्या दिक्कत आई थी and how they kind of worked at it. There is a book I talk a lot about on my channel. It's called Daily Rituals. It is a compilation of 100 people जिन्होंने लाइफ में बहुत मचाया है. It can be writers, filmmakers, and like all these people uh, who were very successful. So you'll see daily rituals, a two-page daily ritual of Benjamin Franklin, Margaret Atwood, David Lynch, हर जना जो अपने गेम के लाइक उन्होंने एस किया पिछले 400-500 साल में, आपको उनके डेली रिचुअल्स दिखाई देंगे. एंड देन यू लाइक, ओ सो दीज आर, दिस इज हाउ द क्रिएटिव पीपल थिंक. लाइक देन यू विल सी पैटर्न्स, देन यू विल सी कि या, so you need to expose yourself to all these things.
Got it. So you also talked about in between ki the people should not be demotivated when they are making their content. But I want to know ki in general, in the process, when you are in the process, when you're making videos but you are not getting that reach, you're not getting that follower count or that views, there comes a point where you are demotivated. And on top of that, if you're doing like a creative thing, you also get a creative block where you don't know what should be the next video, and you're hit with a creative block. So at that time, the one of the main aspects of building a creator business on YouTube is to be consistent, right? As you also said. So how do you maintain the quality and the consistent at that time, to when you are demotivated because of various reasons, or you have been hit with a creative block?
मतलब क्रिएटिव ब्लॉक तब आता है जब when you are doing something you're not extremely passionate about. People make YouTube channels to make money. But first, pick a niche जहाँ पे आपके पास बहुत कुछ है बोलने के लिए. When I started चलचित्र, I was dying to talk about films क्योंकि मैंने हजारों पिक्चरें देखी हुई थी and I didn't have a platform to talk about them. And then I wrote a Facebook post. I'll come on like screen every week and kind of recommend things. Uh, बहुत like कि every week, so that like it was a vent I had chosen for myself. So the idea is कि आप ऐसी नीश चुनो. आप एज ध्रुवांग जिस चीज़ की सबसे ज़्यादा बात कर सकते हो, आपको लाइक अपनी नीश चुन लेनी चाहिए कि यार मैं मे बी लाइक एडवर्टाइजिंग रिलेटेड बहुत बात कर सकता हूँ. देन लाइक हैव अ एडवर्टाइजिंग पॉडकास्ट. देन डोंट हैव अ पॉडकास्ट ऑन स्पोर्ट्स, राइट? क्योंकि अगर आप एडवर्टाइजिंग पॉडकास्ट चलाते हो और उस पर 5 व्यूज आ रहे हैं, आपका फ्यूलिंग ज़्यादा है बिकॉज यू विल हैव मच मोर टू लाइक से. अगर आप कि इनथू एडवर्टाइजिंग है और आप स्पोर्ट्स पॉडकास्ट चला रहे हो तो आपकी फ्यूलिंग जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगी. Then there is another aspect to it, which is be good at sales. कि अगर आपका एक पॉडकास्ट है जिस पे 5 व्यूज आ रहे हैं, शेयर इट इन ऑल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स. अपने घर वालों को बोलो आगे शेयर करें. लाइक हर जगह उस चीज़ को शेयर करने के लिए बोलो. सो आपको पता है कि 100 लोग आपकी लाइफ में ऐसे होंगे जो आपका कंटेंट देखेंगे. सो कीप सेंडिंग इट टू दोज 100 पीपल. आस्क देम फॉर फेवर्स कि तू ये आगे और भेज, तू आगे भेज. तो ऐसे घसीट घसीट के 500-600 लोगों को मत बनाओ. सो अगर आपने कोई चीज़ बनाई और आपने 1,000 लोगों तक पहुंचा दी, जिनमें से मान लो 700 लोग आपको नहीं जानते हैं, बट इफ यू आर मेकिंग गुड कंटेंट, लाइक एटलीस्ट 2 to 3% और द 5% ऑफ द पीपल आर गोइंग टू स्टिक अराउंड. फिर आप धीरे धीरे और अच्छा बनाओगे तो और लोग देखेंगे. सो सेल्स आपको कंटिन्यूसली करनी है. अभी मैंने एक टॉक दी थी दिल्ली में एंड आई सेड दिस ऑन स्टेज कि वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट मिथ्स इन दिस यूनिवर्स इज कि डू गुड वर्क एंड दिल कम एंड फाइंड यू. एक्चुअली कोई आपको ढूंढने नहीं आएगा, आपको सेल्स भी करनी पड़ेगी. सो इवन इफ यू आर डूइंग द ग्रेटेस्ट वर्क, you need to kind of also do the sales for that.
Great. That was very insightful, the whole episode till now. Thank you so much for being on the episode today with us. It was great having you. That brings us to the end of today's episode of MyCast, MyCast's official podcast. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button to stay tuned for more such content. To get more updates, follow us on our Instagram handle, MyCast underscore the Mic podcast. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. That was your host, Dhruv Angwag. See you in the next episode.